Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Brian Bride, Director of Payroll Operations, and we today are going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects that I get to talk about with Brian, which is fraud. I have no idea what this is about, but I'm looking forward to it. How are people getting scammed this week?
Well, I mean, like I said, we get stuff probably every couple of days, at least once a week, where we get maybe somebody calling or something like that.
People trying to scam Kaizen specifically / YPD specifically.
Or the clients. Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's a lot of fraud around payroll. Lately it's been a lot of technology based, trying to change direct deposits and things. Yeah. So we'll kind of talk about one of those. We have two examples today, actually.
And just so I know, I'll start with that. These are clients telling you guys, and then they're reaching back, be like, "Is this legitimate?"
Right, or it's already happened, and
you got to correct it.
We got to correct it, right, or try to track the money, or try to get the money pulled back.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the first one is a client example. The other one is something that we saw on our end, and actually I saw that we've tried to resolve or try to defeat them. You know, it's like whack-a-mole, right? You're always trying to knock it out. So yeah, so the first one's the email fraud. But this is a client, and I actually received a whole email string this time. So I saw some really interesting things. So it was really great. So here's what will happen. The employee will email like the admin or the payroll person and say something like, before you run payroll, can I update my ACH information and what's required? Pretty common question, right? So in this case, the client actually responded the way we wanted was, hey, you can log into self-service and change your account yourself.
And this is why we preach the self-service.
Exactly. But the mistake the client made was, but if you can't figure it out, let me know. I'll change it for you. So we don't really want to do that. We want to say here, and if you need help, bring in, and we'll even help you. If at YPD, if somebody really can't change their direct deposit information, you want to bring them to the office, we'll walk them through it. Your office now, or we'll do it on Teams. So then the client sends the email back and says, "Oh, okay, great. Here's my information." Right? They changed it, and then that week, the employee goes in the office on Friday and says, "I didn't get paid." She's like, "Well, I changed your direct deposit information." It's like, "I didn't request that."
Oops.
So, I mean, we have a banking partner. We tried to pull it back yet. We didn't get it because the money's long gone, but a couple of things to look out for. So when I received the whole email string, the important part was it said the email was from the client or from the employee, but the email header has the email address in it. It said user at some other company.
Gotcha.
So you always want to look at that. If somebody says, I want to change any financial information and it's email, it's best to pick up the phone.
Yep. But
if you're looking at it, maybe they're overnight or something, they sent you, see it's legit, you look at the email address. That tells you right away, right? If it's not from your domain, it's not right? Language too, a big giveaway. If I want to change my ACH information, I don't say that. If you want to change where your check goes, what do you say?
I'd like to change where my check goes.
Right. Or you say, I want to change my direct deposit.
Yeah.
Employees don't use the term ACH. If you work at a bank, maybe, right? But, wherever this place was, they're going to say, I want to change where my check goes. How can I change my deposit? They're not going to say, can I change my ACH? They're also not going to confirm like effective dates. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, is this for my next check? They're not going to say, can you confirm the effective date? The reason why they asked for the effective date is they sent it to a fintech bank. So there's nothing wrong with fintech banks. A lot of people use them, right? That's like, a SoFi or a Green Dot or a Chime, right? They're not real banks. They're financial tech companies that have a bank on the back. The reason they do this is because those companies offer a deposit early, right? So if you ever seen Chime says, get your check 2 days early or whatever, what they're doing is they're seeing the ACH file come in, and the way ACH files work is there's a posting date. They have to post it by that date. They can post it earlier if they want, but most banks don't do that because there's floats and stuff. But the fintech to compete say, all right, well, you'll get your check early. Well, they do this because they want to, attract clients and, but scammers do this because it's easier to open an account. And two, if you get it early, you can take the money out before the employee
anyone catches
you, right? So in this case, the Friday check date on Thursday, the money was in this account. The scammer took the money out. Friday comes along. By the time that we reach out to our bank, they're sending files on Monday. It's long gone. The bank's closed. It's done. Right. Yep. So, I mean, that's why it's really, really important that you want to do the self-service and that you want to make sure that it is the employee. So if they email you, they really can't figure it out. Call them on the phone, talk to them in person, say, hey, did you really want to change your direct deposit information? So, yeah, I mean, we used to get this one a lot, like here. I told a story before. I got one for a partner like a week after I started. We haven't really seen it on our end. We used to get it but they started going after the clients now. So I don't know how they figured out they have iSolved. I think they hack emails and see. I don't know.
Once they get into an email, right? If there's a email from an iSolve, it says like, oh, you updated blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, this person is part of this organization. That means the whole organization must be using that. So, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. That
leads in the second one, because that's actually what was happening that iSolved and we were trying to stop. So email hacking's been on the rise. I don't know the reason for that, but that's what they're doing. Like they're hacking emails and looking to see where your direct deposit is going to. So like, I know for mine, like your check, right? So I know for iSolved, when you do a direct deposit or when your check's available, you get an email that says, oh, your check is now available to view on the mobile app.
An email to your private or to your
private one.
Oh, okay. Which are far more likely to get hacked.
Exactly. So, you get an email like, oh, your check's available to view. You should be viewing it. A lot of people, they're on salary, might not look at it. If you're hourly, you might not look at it either. But then they're looking at that and then they're logging in because they know the URL to log into. And then they know, well, you use your email for your login, right? Mm. So then here's the second part, multi-factor authentication. I know it's really annoying for everybody, but here's why you don't want to be your email. Because if they access your email, now they've accessed your multi-factor authentication. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So we had that here and then we stopped. So you can't do multi-factor authentication with email anymore. You have to use the text or authenticator, because if they have your email, they can get into it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they're doing. They're getting in, they're saying, all right, here's a deposit. Now the second part of this one is they're changing the deposit percentage to 99%. So they'll put in, another fintech account number, but they only changed it to 99%. I don't know why. I think maybe because it, it's if they see a deposit email, right? Because the email says, hey, your check went in direct deposit. Right. Maybe if your salary, you're not necessarily looking at the amounts. So if you do 99%, they're still getting a small deposit. The scammer's getting most of the check, taking the money out, and they're going. Or that causes more confusion because then you log in and you're like, well, I didn't get paid my whole amount. What's going on? Then you have to go to Payroll, right? And you ask Payroll, hey, I didn't get my check. Mm-hmm. They check, they go, well, yeah, you did. And they're like, no, I didn't get the whole amount, right? I think it causes more confusion, more back and forth.
And that confusion delays everything.
So I think that's why they do that part. So that's the thing that we've been seeing. So on the iSolve side, they worked really hard. There's a fraud notification dashboard now. So when people change direct deposits, we see it. And there are certain routing numbers for fintechs that are flagged. So if somebody changed their direct deposit to, not to pick on anybody, but to like green dots, right? it's going to get tagged like they changed it. So we have a couple clients that are like, bigger restaurant, quick service restaurants that they use that service to give if they don't have a checking account, they give them a green dot card. Right.
Okay.
So we know them, that's probably valid, but we started calling on those. So somebody changed it. We noticed that the person changing it was the employee. We'll check the IP address to make sure it's the same one they've always been logging into. If they haven't logged in a while, we'll call the client. They can confirm this. So it's gone a little manual for checking this stuff, but it's really, and our bank's done a really good job too. The bank will flag it too. Like, hey, this is a new account and it's one of these, fraud ones.
Well, it's questionable, right?
Yes.
And it makes perfect sense to do that. And I actually find it very interesting what you were saying about, hey, there are certain routing numbers that they're flagging, because it's no different than scammers calling your phone, right? Mm-hmm. They know some of these numbers are getting used pretty often now. So,
yeah.
And now this is the part where I'm going to ask you something that I figure you won't know, because this goes into the crime part that I want to hear about. If they know about these routing numbers, how come they can't get after these people? Because they know who would have that money, right? Somebody has to own that bank. Maybe they're not in the United States.
I think they're not in the United States. I also think the account probably got shut down, but they open another one with other information. I think it's part of the business model too. If you're a larger fintech, client acquisition's a really important piece, right? If you're not revenue strong, you're reporting on users. So it's kind of like I said, it's whack-a-mole, right? If somebody's stealing $1,000 every 2 weeks, you're probably whacking it down and moving forward. It's just the cost of doing business, I guess. I don't know. But from security wise, right? Like, use Authenticator, use Google, use Microsoft, use passkeys on Android and Apple. So you're not passing over that information. Try to use the more modern security than just like your username and password. Passkeys are good because then you can use other passwords. I know a lot of people, it's called daisy chaining, or use the same password over and over and over again. And if they have your email password, you probably use it on other sites too. So they're using that to get to the other stuff, and they know what it is because they're just reading your emails.
Yep. So, and they know if they can get into your emails, they can see all the other stuff that you have access to. So, yep.
Yeah,
I completely get it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like it's great that people that are traditionally unbanked can access this stuff, but it does cause fraud, right? So you just gotta play whack-a-mole.
Can't quite shake that. Anything else? Is there anything else you want to add to these new fraud scams?
So I would just say that, with tax season coming up, there's a lot of tax frauds, right? There's a lot of more IRS calls saying you owe money, or, trying to steal your return and stuff. So just be very, very careful. Make sure you're changing your account numbers. Make sure you're changing your passwords. Make sure that you're in a secured server before you enter the information in. Self-service as much as possible. And if you get a notification that somebody's trying to hack, like you get your text message, call that company and say, I'm not trying to log in. So
I'll give you a perfect example. I got a text message, and then I got a series of them just saying my Coinbase was hacked.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah. And I was like, I haven't really logged into it. And I just locked the account. So it's locked out of everything. So I'm not worried. But at the same time, I was like, well, it's better to be safe. And then I'll log in when I get a chance.
Yeah. Whenever you get a text message, go to the actual app.
Yep.
Never click on the
those links are sketch every time. Yep. Go to the app.
Right.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.